Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. Renzo here. Okay, today I'm gonna paint a new portrait. I'm gonna use the Andrew Loomis method. As you can see, I got these photographs here on the screen. Okay, this is the one that I'm gonna paint from. Okay, this is the one for drawing. And this one is just to see the separation between values. Okay. Now I'm gonna share Photoshop here to show you how to draw with the Loomis method. Okay, here's the image. I did this the first step. I'm gonna do it here in Photoshop, and then I'm gonna draw it on the canvas. Okay. First, it's just a circle. Okay, the one that you just split in two portions. That's a perfect circle. Okay, the top of the circle is the top of the head. The bottom of the circle is just between the lips. That's gonna be there. Okay. Okay, now you split this obviously in two, and here in two. And this is going to be for the center line. Let's say that you split this in this area. That's going to be the center line of the face. In this case, obviously I'm trying to match the photograph. Okay, these lines here is when you split this in three portions and got the position of the eyes. Okay, I'm going to continue. Now, once you got this and this, yeah, you're gonna split this in three. Okay, you're gonna repeat this portion down, and you're gonna find the bottom of the chin. I hope that's clear. Okay, now you got the position of the chin. You're gonna notice something, that the bottom of the nose and the chin, if you split that in two, you're gonna find the bottom of the mouth. Not the line between the lips, that's for the circle. Just when you split this in two portions. Okay. Another thing is the alignment that is with the nose and the ear. Obviously it's a curve because the face is not flat, it's kind of spherical. The same happens with the eyebrows and the top of the ear. In this case we don't see the alignment because the position of the head is a bit different, or maybe she has just smaller ears. Okay, now we use this portion to cut here, and you just measure the same up, and we cut here, and we just cut a portion, make it flat. That's going to be the side of the face. Okay, and you can trace just one line here, and usually when you split this like this, you're going to find the ear on this position, and you do the same on this side of the face. Okay, there are just few more details about the Loomis method, but I try to keep it pretty simple. Obviously, you know the Loomis method has been out. He published this in the 40s. It's been a long time. I think it's so easy to find some images, to find more information about this, a lot of information about this out there. And if you want to buy the book, I have seen a link. I don't remember. I mean, there are so many. I think it was on Amazon. You can find buy the book for $5. Okay. Now I'm gonna move to my canvas, and here there's gonna be let's say a repetition about what I did. Okay, the colors I have are the titanium white, cadmium yellow light, cadmium red, alizarin crimson, raw umber, cobalt blue, and ivory black. I'm gonna use a little bit of linseed oil, and I'm gonna use raw umber for drawing. Okay, first the top of my head here, around there. the bottom around here. Okay, we start just drawing a circle. Okay, we know that's going to be the top of the head. Don't count hair, top of the head. This is going to be for the line between the lips. Okay, we split that in two. We place one axis here. Okay, and with another axis here, around there. Okay, this one, that's the center of the circle. Obviously, if you have a circle that's a perfect front view, it's going to be easy, just split that in two like that. But it's a curve here, obviously, because this the position is a trigonometric view. You know, it has some volume. But if it's a front view, you're going to see this. This point is this one here. The center of the circle is for the eyebrows. Here you place the eyebrows. Okay, now you got the eyebrows. Okay? You're going to split this in three portions. And up here in three portions too. The thing is here, obviously, since the position of the sphere is not like this, I'm going to explain here. In the front view, you could do something like this. That would be easy. But on a spherical form, obviously, you're not going to split this from here to here, okay? Because of it's rotating this sphere. It's going to be around here. Now you got this, you got this. You can just find the other axis here. Okay, a little bit of linseed oil, and you just cut a piece of this. Just chop it off here. Okay. Now we got this split in three portions. This one is going to be for the bottom of the nose. We got the eyebrows. We got the bottom of the nose. The nose is aligned with the bottom of this portion here that we just cut. Okay, you're gonna repeat this one down. You're gonna find what? The chin. Okay, you're gonna repeat this one up, just here. That's gonna be for the hairline. Okay, now you got the eyebrows, you got the bottom of the nose, you got the bottom of the chin. When you got that, you're gonna pick up this portion here, and you're gonna split it in three. And usually, I mean, no face is perfect, but usually you're gonna be able to sit the eyes on top of this line. You're gonna split this in two, and the same is gonna happen. You're gonna be able to sit the mouth here. Okay. Now we continue here with the mandible. Where we cut here, we can just, from this point, okay, we can just draw the mandible down. Okay, the mandible here, this portion, this corner, is aligned with the bottom of the mouth. Okay. Now this is going to be about practice. You're going to need to practice this more and more. This is mostly for illustrators that wants to draw a face, a head from memory. But it's pretty good for painters because, I mean, I usually use a combination between observation and the Loomis method. Okay. Okay. Hello, Shay. Hello, Mark. Hello, Lats. Hello, Fuad. Hello, Tina. Hello, Tatiana. Hello, Marius. Hello, Just Keishore. Okay. Feel free to ask me any question. Okay. Now, got the center line of the face. I know where these two lines are crossing, it's gonna be the nose. Okay? That's the beauty here. That's when it becomes kind of easy, let's say. I know where these two lines are crossing. That's gonna be the bottom of the mouth. I can place the mouth here. Now the problem that's gonna be for the eyes. I know one eye is around here, the other one is around here. I know between the eyes there is one eye. The problem is about how to place these eyes. Maybe we're gonna place this too much to the left, to the right. We're gonna need to use a lot of observation. Okay, no method is gonna just give us all the answers, especially when a face or a head it moves in a different position. We got a lot of positions to draw from, and each position change all these axes. Okay. Now, one thing, let's check our alignments. Okay, vertical alignments. Just see the image, and I think I can just align the tear duct with the nose, with one side of the nose, and the corner of the mouth maybe with the inner portion of the iris. Maybe you can use a ruler. Oh, the photograph, you can find the photograph on my Patreon account. This one on the screen, and let me show again the other one, and this one too. Okay, you just go to my Patreon account, just join for free. Okay, there is some options that it says, some tiers. You just look for the free option. You don't need to pay anything, just look for the free option. Okay, just spend some time, because obviously Patreon is going to show you first maybe the paid options, but just it's there. It says join for free, and you're going to see the video, and below the video are attached these pictures. Okay, I got this. Now that I got this, I'm going to keep obviously checking out this. I'm going to need to move to the other photograph, because right now I basically just my eyes to draw. Okay, I got the Loomis method that helped me with the position of the eyes, nose, and mouth. Okay, I'm gonna just refine a little bit just by observation. Okay, now let's see. When it's by observation, the thing that I do first is just I pinpoint my eyes really fast between photograph and my painting, and for that I have the photograph next to my painting, and it's the same size. I have it on my screen here, because to get a little bit of the likeness at this in any step is about comparing a lot. Even that there are a lot of lines all over my canvas, still unable to see. Okay, if you don't want the distraction, obviously you can just use a pencil and then or charcoal and erase it. I'm gonna just use paper towel and erase some of the landmarks. See a bit more clearly the face. Okay, I would love to draw the head a little bit. I think I can just move it up there. Now that you got the drawing, obviously I'm trying to do something kind of fast here because it's live, but you can spend all the time. If you're gonna use the video, just pause it. The video is gonna stay here on YouTube. You can just watch it all the time you want. Okay. Now, the next step is to think about values. Okay, we need this. This is the best way to separate light, midtones, and shadows. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. Oh, I need to put it on top of this one. Okay, there. Now, I'm not gonna copy exactly to try to match what I see in the picture. It's more for me to have information about where the lights and shadows, and obviously using the planes of the face. Okay, remember the last week I did a video just explaining the planes of the face. Now we can just combine both. You know, if you don't know, you can just go back to the last video, the video from the last week. Hello Paula, hello Bob, hello Marius, hello Wolfpack Studios. Okay. Now, this image that we have on the screen, remember, is just to be able to see where the lights and the shadows. You don't need to copy exactly the image, okay? It's just easier to have a better idea, especially if let's say the photograph is maybe too light, has a lot of light, not too many shadows, it doesn't have too much contrast. Okay, it's just having something like this is easier to tell us where is the light coming from. All the planes that faces the light are lighter. The planes that are not facing the light are darker. Okay, I'm gonna start mixing some colors to paint the portrait. And I'm just gonna start just let's see, I need 1, 2, 3, like 5 values. I'm gonna start just mixing some light orange. Okay. I'm gonna use a little bit of linseed oil. About mediums, use anything you like. Linseed oil, or no, anything. If you go back on some of my videos, I've been painting a lot of paintings without any medium at all, nothing, just pure paint directly from the tube. And maybe I'm gonna do it again. I'm using lately linseed oil because this white I have, you know, you see it's kind of sticky. Look at that. It's kind of difficult to move it. I'm gonna add a little bit of raw umber to make this color a bit darker. Okay, what's the key here? That this color has to be darker than the previous one. That's what you want. Okay? You're gonna use your palette as a tool. This is gonna be useful for. Don't use a plate, please. Use a palette. It's gonna be just easy to control. Maybe this is not gonna look like the same color going from lighter to darker. It doesn't matter. The thing is that one has to be darker than the previous one. Take your time, mix the colors. Start just with the same. Try to just use simple combinations. In that way you can just repeat them again and again. Because if you use 20 colors, it's just like preparing, you know, dinner. You just 20 ingredients. I think it's going to be more difficult to remember all the steps. But the less you use, it's going to be just easier to remember the steps. And that's what we want when we paint a portrait. We want simplification because it's something pretty complex, and we want simplification on the first steps. Now, having one more color is going to help you to judge the previous one. I noticed that You know that I could just pick up a little bit of this one, put it here. Yep. Then I'm gonna prepare one more. I think with 4 I have enough to start paint. And then I'm gonna prepare more, obviously. But let's say to start painting this is gonna be good enough. Okay. Now you can add you can add first the lighter colors, then the darker ones. If you ask any teacher, it's gonna tell you to add first the darker ones. Okay. Sometimes I just prefer to add the lighter ones first. Okay. Hello, Sylvia. Brad. Hello, Brad. Brad is saying, do you think about planes of the hair also? Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. You know, the thing is that the hair follows the form of the head. If the, you know, it's just like seeing the hair is just thinking about waves and how it's light, midtones, and shadows. Now there are planes, obviously, because when we see a light on the face and the hair, like we see on the picture, it's because this side of the hair is facing the light. Not too much light here because it's not facing the light. Okay. Now we use planes to simplify that, to understand easily when we see an area that's lighter versus an area that's darker. Okay, obviously the hair is a bit more way complex because it changed a lot. It changed a lot. There's so many hair, styles that, oof, it can make everything pretty complicated. Okay, another question. Hello, Tina. When you are using linseed oil, or do you also use mineral spirits? Oh, just linseed oil mostly. I don't use anything more than linseed oils. Yeah. If someday I use something more, it's just because maybe I ran out of linseed oil. Just because of that. Okay. Now, like I said before, you don't need to copy every plane that you see on the picture, but look at the picture now. One thing that you don't see on the photograph, but you see on this photograph on the screen, there's a plane that has light. Next to that, we see another plane on the photograph. Okay, that means that this little portion here we gotta make a change there. We need to make it lighter, sorry, darker or grayish or something, but we gotta change something there. Okay, the frontal plane of the nose. Okay, I think with that I have enough about these planes. Yeah, because the other ones are a little bit dark. That's what I mean. Yeah, I can paint this, and this with that. Oh, the neck and a portion of the shoulder. Okay, now we're doing this pretty simple. Here on this portion there are a lot of things going on. There are a lot of midtones, values, shadow, core shadow. We just have something that's flat. It's just a simplification. We move to the other brush with the value number 2. Now here you gotta see if maybe it's too dark. Obviously we see a difference on the photograph. This area, in this area, do you think this is the same value? No, it's not. Okay, this has to be a bit darker. I'm gonna paint this plane with this value here. If you're practicing, don't worry about perfection. okay, just think about kind of having a process and how to do things. And don't think about likeness at the beginning. Just think about planes, proportions, because remember okay, one thing, when we began, we are just absolute beginners and we want to paint, the first thing we want to do, speaking in my case, is just match colors as crazy. I just want to match colors as crazy. Okay? The thing is, if you don't pay attention to proportion, okay, but you match the colors, imagine that you just got distracted about the simple Loomis method and you don't got the alignment of the eyes here. And one eye is up and the other one is down. It doesn't matter how hard you try to match the colors. The portrait is not going to look okay when the proportions are off. Okay, first proportion, then values, and if the color is not there, don't worry, eventually it's going to be there. The same way that you get better at just drawing and drawing the proportions and paint and mixing colors, and you go better in everything. Don't just spend all the time trying just to match the colors. That's just gonna, with practice, you're gonna be able to do it. Okay, next, value. There's one. I forgot to paint another one value on the neck. Okay. Here. Here. I don't think that's the value there. I think I need to make this a bit darker. A little bit of more raw umber, a little bit of red. Just a touch of red. I want to make this color pretty bright. If you just miscalculate one value, you can just repaint it. When you're painting following the planes of the face, remember that because you got the separation between one and the other, you can repaint this one. That's not going to affect the other one. Okay? That's the moment when you're able to do it. Because when you just blend everything, maybe there's going to be more difficult there. And not more difficult because of the thing of just doing. It's because you're going to be afraid of just mess up the painting. And that happens to everybody. Okay? That means that at this stage, if you see a mistake on the values, you can just go and repaint any area. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna paint the hair. I'm gonna just make it flat now because I don't want to spend too much time on the hair. A little bit of raw umber and linseed oil. I just want to make it a little bit transparent and flat, just to get the shape of the head and obviously the shape of the hair. As I'm painting the hair, I noticed that I missed something with the second value, this little portion here. Okay. Okay. Now we need to paint everything, the background, everything, to be able to judge all the colors. What about the background? No, I think I would love to add some maybe darker background or grayish background, bluish grayish background. Hello, exploring history. Hello, Michael. Hello, Eridi. Hello, Paula. Hello, Sylvia. Okay, let me think. Just gray. You know, I think it's gonna be a neutral color. That's gonna be okay. Maybe a bit darker than what we see on the photograph, just to create more contrast. Yeah. Mm, yeah. Okay. Oh, one thing that I should. Oh, I got the photograph there. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna change just the color of the. I'm gonna mix black and white. Just that. Pretty simple. You know, black has blue in it. If you just mix black and white, you're gonna get a bluish color. Okay. Now I'm just mixing this a little bit darker just to create more contrast. Let me think. Maybe it's too dark. Okay, a bit more white. Okay. Now I'm going to draw some details, because the more I paint, obviously, the more I'm gonna mess up my drawing. Okay, one thing to remember. Let me see. Okay, this. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you should do what I'm gonna do on my painting, but check out, okay, the alignment here. This is gonna be pretty important, because if this is not okay, that means one eye is gonna be up, the other one is gonna be down. These are proportions. This method, it has what, more than 60 years, and it's pretty good. It's really good. One thing about this axis, all of them are parallel to each other. It follows, you see, the same. Another thing that's gonna just help you is if the mouth maybe is tilted like that and the eyes are tilted like that. Okay. The center line of the face, pretty important. Once you got the center line of the face and this axis, you know where's the mouth, you know where's the nose. Okay. Now going back to planes of the face. Okay, I think I got all that. No, I think I'm just gonna use this one now, because I need to copy. More I need right now, I need to compare. Just forget about the planes, and I got the proportions. I need to pay attention to the size of the eyes, the size of the nose, the size of the mouth. Okay. There. Let's use raw umber and alizarin crimson, a little bit of black. I'm gonna use this just as a pencil. Now remember, when you draw one side of the face or one eye, since we're trying to keep, you know, the alignment between the eyes, you're gonna just draw the other one. Spend just a couple of seconds on one eye and then move to the other one. You see that I'm using just the tip of the brush, just like a pencil. Okay. I clean the tip of the brush, I pick up more paint. Clean the tip of the brush, pick up paint. Nose. much paint. Okay. You see the line between the lips, it's like a curve, a lot of curves. I'm just drawing just a straight line right now. Okay. Check out the corner of the mouth in relationship to the eye and to the nose. Remember that everything about painting a face is about the relationship between the eyes, nose, and mouth, because we just basically paint a couple of eyes and nose and a mouth. Okay, when we start having problems is when the nose maybe is too big, the eyes are too separated or too big. Something happens there. Remember to check out always the proportions as you continue painting. Okay, I got basically 3 values on the face, what light, mid-tone, and shadow. You just blend. Before blending, remember if you want to change one of the values, you can just, since you see the separation between them, it's going to be just easier just to work on that flat shape and change the color. Maybe you need to make the color brighter, grayish. Okay. Here's a little bit lighter. I'm using the same brush that I use for blending. At the same time that I'm blending, I'm putting down color. Okay, follow the process. Don't worry that much about matching the colors at this stage. Don't worry that much about likeness at this stage. Okay, you're already working on likeness since you're just paying attention to the photograph, and you know that I just bounce my eyes really fast between photograph and painting. That's for the likeness. It's just comparing. The ear was gone completely. I need to repaint it. What I'm doing, checking alignments, horizontal alignments. See the top of the ear. Check out the alignment with the eyebrow. With the Loomis method, we check out the alignment using curves because we are thinking about it at a three-dimensional form. But we can switch and think about the face right now as a two-dimensional shape. Okay, and for that we can just use straight, horizontal, and vertical lines to check out with the photograph, like using a grid top of the picture. Hello, Giancarlos. Hello, Carmen. Okay. Let's see. Now that I got to this stage, I compare and I see that the skin color obviously is way more saturated on my canvas. And now I can just start just mixing the colors to make changes to this. Okay. This one, for example, I'm gonna knock it down this color. I'm gonna use a little bit of raw umber and a lot of white, which is gonna happen, is gonna grade down this color a lot. A little bit of linseed oil. Let's paint the shoulder. Okay. Now the same color that, see, if you just go back on the video, you're gonna see that this definitely a grayish version that it was before. I can make it even grayish, more raw umber and white. It's almost gray. I mean, no, not gray, obviously. You know, I got the skin color there. Okay. Now for the second color, I'm just gonna grade down this one too. I'm gonna use a little bit of cobalt blue. Too grayish. Okay. Let's use this color for the forehead. Okay, one thing, I'm not gonna use this color here on the light. Okay, and just keep using on where it was. This value was in this area. You see it, you know, at the beginning, and just basically just changing the color. Okay, you can just blend it a bit. I can do the same for the neck. It's not that dark, the clavicle here. Okay, now the next color. The next color was this one, or was this one? Okay, let me check on my brushes. Sometimes, oh, it was this one. Sometimes we got misconfused. I got a little table where I put down the brushes. But sometimes I just put them on a different order. And that's when I got confused. Okay, let's see. What about the color? Looks better? Or I need to grade down the color a bit more? More blue? Okay, this area is in shadow. We're gonna keep it in shadow. Okay. Drawing again. I need to check out the position of the eyes. Okay. Maybe one eye is moving up, something like that. Hello, Jonas. Feel free to ask me. Hello, JJ. Feel free to ask me any question. Okay. Now, one thing that you gotta get used to, check out proportions again and again. Okay? You can just go back to this stage, and obviously I'm not gonna tell you to trace lines all over your painting, but check out at least, you know, with a pencil maybe, and then go back to this one and check out if you got light midtones and shadows, and then this one. Okay, you got proportions, values, and from there you need to refine obviously everything and working on details just little by little. Okay, okay, the white of the eye. bit of the eye here. Okay, the eyebrows are darker. Yeah, I need to work on the eyebrows. Raw umber, just raw umber. Okay. Now, I got a darker area here, and I'm gonna just use raw umber now. Put it here. I need to see the value. Maybe I'm going to add black on top of this raw umber. Let's see if it's dark enough. About a touch of black. I don't know if you see the difference, but I see the difference. Yeah. Clean my palette knife. I'm gonna use just raw umber. Now I'm gonna use a brush. You can just go slowly with the shadows. This is my way on just saving time on painting the shadows. Okay, because I just add a thick layer of paint with the palette knife, and I got this really dark. But I would recommend, you want to try it like this. Otherwise, you just go slowly, just making darker the shadows, a bit darker, a bit darker. Take your time. Just like when we draw, just slowly we darken up the shadows. Okay, let's see. I need to step back, compare. Okay, yep, I like it. Still see a lot of my canvas showing through, which it could be a nice color, but not so sure yet. Okay. Oh, hello, resourceful scholar. Do you ever paint on paper? No, no, I haven't tried painting on paper. I gotta say that when I moved to this house, this was my dad's house, and I found a painting. It was just, I thought it was painted on canvas because it was stretched up on stretched bars, yeah. But when I get close and I touch it, it was paper. And that's my dad. Hey, you got a painting here? You painted on paper? And he was, yeah. Sometimes I pick up paper and I just add a couple of layers of gesso, or and that's it. Pretty good to paint. But I didn't even notice until I just picked up the painting, and I just by accident I started to check out the details on the painting. I noticed, wow, this canvas, it was pretty thin. It's not tooth at all, not texture. I said, wait, and then I noticed immediately that was paper. But the thing is that you gotta be pretty careful if you paint on paper. It could get damaged so easily. maybe using what do you say, sturdy paper or really thick paper. Yeah, it could be a solution. But canvas is good, you know. Okay, I'm gonna add more paint as I continue working on more details. And here, a little bit of red for the lips. One side of the mouth is a bit darker because obviously you see that the mouth is not a flat surface, it's curvy. That means that the right side is a bit darker and the left side is a bit lighter. Another thing that you gotta notice is the upper lip is always a bit darker. I mean, not always, but I'm saying that because usually the light conditions kind of the same all the time. What I mean, the light is all usually coming from up. Okay. Pretty sure that so many people have painted a lot of portraits. The light is always coming from up, from the left to right, but from up. Okay, as we paint this, we can just add more colors like I'm doing here. Can just add more red to each value and try to keep, you know, the value structure without messing the values. Yeah, but I'm trying to say not get with lighter colors into the darker areas. Yeah. Michael is saying, are you a tidy and clean artist when you work or messy? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There is a difference there. When I teach, I try to be, you know, I try to have an order. I try to have a process. When I'm just painting by myself, just without anyone watching me, uh, I don't know if somebody would try to read my process, that would be like kind of messy. It would be like, what are you doing? Where are you putting this and that? Yeah, because sometimes I don't care about that much order. I just painting, putting the paint down, and if it's not okay, I don't care. I know I can just uh, continue painting next day and fixing mistakes, and yeah, that's it. No pressure at all. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna need to mix more paint. And that's, I think, that's not just about me. Is I think you all maybe experienced that. But I know that when I was a student, it was kind of difficult to read or to understand or to learn something when somebody is just kind of messy. When I mean, for us, for the viewer, but obviously they have already an order. And I remember just seeing a demonstration. Two artists. One it was a sculptor, and the other one it was a painter. And the one the did the demonstration, the portrait painting. He was pretty clean. He put a lot of order on the distribution of the color and the values. You know, that was pretty nice. It was just like when you want to learn, it was just perfect. Okay, but it was kind of a, it could be tedious process, but for me it was perfect. You know, some of my friends they just preferred like a crazy beginning, something like I don't know, you know. And the other guy, the sculptor, he said, at the very beginning, he said, "So sorry, I'm going to do the work, but I'm not used to speak to anyone while I'm working, and that's gonna be like a mute demo without any explanation." And I said, "Okay, that's okay. And when he started to work, I noticed that he kind of moved from, it's just like, imagine that I'm working here and then I move here, and then I jump here, and then I jump here, and then I jump to the other color, and with the same brush with white I mix here and put it there, and I have 20 colors, and I pick up one and then the other, and I pick up a little bit of each color and I put it on the painting. It was so difficult to follow his process. The result was amazing. Yeah. But he did an explanation later, but it was because he used to work, he said, he used to work alone, and he needed a lot of concentration. He wasn't used to speak. He wasn't used to speak a lot with anyone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I like this pink showing through. Maybe I'm gonna keep it. Okay, more red. Remember the reddish colors on the face? We got red on the eyelids. I think that's too reddish. If you made a mistake and you make it too reddish, yes, you're gonna need to repaint that again. The nose. Obviously the mouth and the chin. Okay, I need to work on some midtones, a little bit of yellow to have more warmer color here. Okay, here I see this midtone here. Okay, a bit more yellow, a bit darker. This to make it a bit dark. See, it's pretty clear that it's darker here. Hello, Sotnir. Oh, there a question here. Do you ever paint without a reference? I didn't see your question. Oh, I didn't read it. I don't remember. I think I did it. If maybe a couple of times. That was for a demo. Yeah. Yeah. No. I was trying to remember. Now I remember. Yeah. That was when I was working as a teacher on a school of art. Yeah. I did a couple of demos, but that was drawing. One was a portrait. The other one that was a human figure. Yeah, and I did it in a blackboard. Those old black, like a kind of green, dark green blackboard. I drew a face with the proportions, and then I drew a body, a human figure just moving. Okay, and yeah, that's what that's what I did a couple of times, and I did that because this school of art uh, didn't have any model, live model at that time, and yeah, we need to just draw from photographs, and it wasn't enough, and I thought that it would be better to try to teach them how to draw from not from memory but using, like for example, the Loomis method that I used for the drawing is a method that you can use to draw a face from memory, just using the Loomis method. Okay, not to copy. And I did that, and I showed them how to do it. I mean, it wasn't about perfection, Don't picture my, don't picture me drawing a perfect portrait. It was more like a sketchy one, pretty loose, sketchy, with proportions, obviously, because that was the intention of the class, getting the proportions. Yeah, and yeah, I think that was just those times. Yeah, just that. The rest of my life as a painter, I've always been copying from a live model or a photograph. Hmm. Always, yeah. A live model or a photograph. I need more umber. Here it's pretty dark. Okay. Do you replace your brushes often? Uh, I keep buying brushes. To be honest, I don't even know when I replace them because I have a bunch of them. And if today, let's say, I go to the store or a mall where and I see there they have brushes, or there is a sale or something like that, I wanna buy some brushes. Definitely, I know that. Even that I didn't go to plan to buy some brushes, I'm gonna do it. Okay, something about eyebrows. Remember the eyebrows are a little bit darker here, where I'm painting right now? Lighter here. Why? Because this area there is a bump. That's the upper part of the eye socket. Okay, the same that would be here. Darker here, a little bit lighter, but something is different in this case because we have like a cast shadow from the hair, and there is some kind of light, you know, moving here, hitting here, and here, a little bit there. And the light I was saying, there's light here and light here. Okay. Okay, now when we are just painting something around it, that's gonna be for another video thing, I think, explaining about the values on a spherical three-dimensional form. But I'm gonna speak about just the core shadows. Okay, those are pretty important. Exploring history is asking what kind of blending brush are you using if it's different than the regular flat brushes. Oh no, they are just the same. Just like for blending, I usually use round brushes, and they're that all frayed out. Look at the stage of the brush. Maybe some of you just throw away the brush when it got to this stage. I'm not. Okay, just then for blending. Okay. Now let's see. Let's work. Here we need a shadow. That's the core shadow. Sometimes we don't see these shadows here, but definitely it's there. This is not a core shadow, it's just a cast shadow. Okay, that one here too. The nose here goes like this. Here. Okay. Yeah. Oh, this one goes all the way down. Now I'm gonna just this to darken up here because I think it's a bit darker. Squinting down my eyes and comparing, yeah, it's a bit darker. Okay. Now let's move to a mid-tone with a little bit more yellow. I see a little bit of light here. Why added too much yellow? Let's see. I think the forehead is a bit dark. Okay, just continue moving to this one, a bit more yellow. Remember, there's a little bit of reddish colors on the cheek. I need more raw umber. Jonas is asking me, when you paint the eyebrows, should you leave some skin color between the fringes and not just totally dark? Yes. What I do when you need to blend it. It's pretty common sometimes paint the eyebrows really sharp. Okay, they look more natural when they're just soft. Okay, when you're blending, do you change your brushes frequently so you always have a dry brush available? That's a Mark. Uh, a question from Mark. Uh, yeah, I usually have more than one brush for blending. Today I just using this one. I keep cleaning the brush, just wiping off the paint with a paper towel, and I keep blending. Yeah. This is more yellow. I think I need to add more light, more yellowish color here. Mhm. Yeah, I got another question here. How to choose good oil paint? Uh, okay. Quality of oil paints is just tied to it's pretty tied to price. There's not gonna be a way that you find a really good quality, for a lower price. Maybe special sale here there, but no. I mean, and it's gonna be just you want the expensive one. To buy the expensive one, for sure they're gonna be pretty good. Okay. Yeah. It's just that brushes with brushes that would be different. Sometimes I just buy really cheap cheap brushes, and I find just that they are work they work pretty good. But with paints are different. With oil paints, paint is different. Just you need to buy the expensive one you can afford. Here, the expensive one we have here is Rembrandt. Okay, now I use a lot of brands. I got Rembrandt, and okay, I'm gonna show you. For example, this I got two reds. This is Rembrandt, and this one is Amsterdam, huge one. I like both, but Rembrandt it has definitely more pigment, and I have Winton, that's the kind of unexpensive one, and I have this local brand Gamma. Doesn't exist anymore, but it's pretty good. Pretty good uh, paint. Just wanna get a little bit of the background on the skin, just to knock it down the pink. Okay, I think that's better. I like it the pink, but it's just like for a second it was there just watching at me. And I found it kind of annoying for a moment, just seeing that pinky color just showing through the skin, driving my attention to the shoulder. I'm gonna read in a minute. I think I saw another question. Oh, no. Okay. Let me see. I just thinking about likeness, comparing a lot. Likeness is pretty difficult to get, but we're gonna try hard. Reflect the light here. Okay, a little bit of green. I think it's time to add some colors here. A little bit of green over here. Below the eyelids, there's always a little bit of green. More blue here, a little bit of green. A little bit of pinky color. Okay, I see a little bit of a really warm color here on the neck. It's just like, looks like this is a warmer light hitting here first. I'm exaggerating maybe a little bit of this yellow, but if I don't like it, I'm gonna just repaint it. And from there, I think, I don't know if you can see it, that kind of hits the neck, and it hits a little bit here. Yeah, it could be something yellow around, you know? Like we see on the background, there's something yellowish. There could be another thing that's just reflecting that color on the neck. Okay, or it could be the light from the window. And another thing that I see just next to that yellow is kind of a touch of orange there and here too. Okay. Okay, another thing that I see is a little bit of a warmer color just here. And obviously it's darker there. Any advice on doing big size painting? How you can do that in parts? Oh wow. Eh, uh, I mean how big? But in parts, that would be what I could do. I could prepare a lot of paint. Okay, I mean for at least for the first layer, and I would try to find a way to save the mixtures. Okay, there's some ways some people keep the painting on the fridge. Okay, some people just kind of wrap up the palette on this thin plastic that is used on the airport when you just I think wrap it up your luggage with this thin plastic. I've seen people doing that with the pallets, and it works pretty good. Keep the painting just wet for a long time. Because the most annoying thing sometimes is just mix a color again to try to retouch one area. Okay, but it depends at the same time the style, because if you add more colors, and the kind of a little loose strokes, brush strokes, uh, you could get away just with adding, just getting, let's say, the mixtures a little bit off, and that's gonna work because you're already adding different colors here and there. Okay. I'm gonna mix a little bit of violet. Okay, a little bit of purple, more blue and white. Raw umber and alizarin crimson. Now, face is full of rounded forms. We need to think about rounded forms everywhere. The nose is a rounded form. What happens when you paint a rounded form, you gotta pay attention to all the values that you need to represent a sphere. I repeat this on every video. I repeat this on every one of my Patreon classes. Okay, print out a sphere or half a real sphere with you, where you can see clearly the light, midtones, shadow, core shadow, reflected light, because you're gonna need that information to try to get the volume of the nose, the chin, the cheeks, the whole head. The eyes is full, the face is full of rounded forms. Okay. Oh, you got here an advice, exploring history. It says make a grid. That's I mean, for a drawing, that's a good idea. Yeah. I remember once I painted a big portrait, like it was like 50 by 50 inches, just a huge face, and I don't know what happened that day. I was so confident, on my abilities as a painter, that I just started to paint it right away, just with few brush strokes all over the face. Painting and painting for a couple of hours. As soon as I just took a picture of my painting and see it on the cell phone, it was just terrible. It was just, everything was off. The eyes were too big. I tried to fix it, but it was too much work. What I did, I just drew it again. I just agreed. And basically, I started over again. It's more difficult to draw from to a smaller photograph to a bigger one than drawing from a smaller photograph. Oh, sorry. Drawing from the smaller to a bigger. That big is pretty difficult. We got lost on proportions. It's just, yeah, it's pretty annoying. Because I tried to retouch it again and again, I couldn't do it. I gave up and I just agreed. Yeah. Or if you have some projector, that would be better too. I think that's better, using a projector. Projects the image on any, you gotta your painting on a really flat surface, like on a wall, not using tilt easel. The easels usually are kind of tilted, backward or forward. Yeah? That's not gonna be useful if you want to use a projector. Yep. Now, some judgments. I see now the neck is too yellowish. Yeah, I need to knock down the color. I think I'm gonna knock down the blue on the background. I'm using raw umber here and white. I wanna knock down the gray, the bluish color. Okay. Okay, here, raw umber and white. This raw umber from Winton is pretty neutral. If you mix it just alone, but just both colors, you're gonna get a grayish color, kind of neutral grayish color. If you mix it raw umber from Rembrandt, for example, you're gonna get a greenish color. It works just with raw umber from Winton. Look at that pretty neutral gray. Okay. It's a little bit of light on the forehead. Let's see. Okay. I got a question here. Do you clean your brushes with any cooking oil? Cooking oil? No, no. No, no. I use terpenoid. There are two types of terpenoid. I use the one that you can just get in any hardware store. It's pretty good. It's good enough to clean the brushes. After using that, you can just wash them with soap if you want. Yeah. In my case, I just clean with terpenoid and that's it. And obviously, it's just I'm gonna clean. I'm gonna use them again next day. Usually, for example, tomorrow I have a class. I'm gonna paint, you know, landscape something with oils, and pretty sure I'm gonna use some of the colors I have on the palette. You know, just to save some painting. And Saturday we're gonna paint again a portrait glass. Man, it's kind of sometimes just that's why I don't clean the brushes, like deeply cleaning. I got a film brush here. Where's my film brush? Oh, here it is. Always think about the form of the face. This is rounded, okay? When everybody speaks about the form of the mouth, everybody refers to that like a half of a tuna can. And that's pretty good because it's easy to remember that. Okay. I'll use a touch of yellow with a little white to add a highlight on the nose. Highlight here too. Clean the brush. I see that this portion of the eyebrow is kind of sharp. Now remember that when we paint on a Prima, we're not able to paint every single detail. Now we gotta choose. We think maybe that we painted every single detail, but the truth is that we are choosing what to paint. Yeah, it's impossible, you know. There is like maybe a million details on every painting or every picture. We just add some accents here and there. We squint down our eyes a lot. Add a little bit of light here, for example. And I'm gonna step back. Check out, squint on my eyes and see if I just see the same values. Yeah, it doesn't mean that I painted every single detail there, but at least got the light, midtones, and shadows. A little bit of green. Just a little bit. It's greenish. A little bit of alizarin crimson. Maybe just a touch of black, pure black. Pick up a color from here. I need light on the upper eyelid. Little bit. Light here. Okay. Need to soften some areas. Okay, a little bit of light here. Okay. Light. I'm moving just thinking that this is on something rounded. Yeah? You see there is light here, but this light doesn't move all the way down to the corner of the mouth. On the corner of the mouth is a bit darker. Okay. And we need to blend here, the corner of the mouth. I don't need all the detail in that area. Maybe a bit more than what I did, but okay, let's see. It's too reddish. The color I just painted on the corner of the mouth is too reddish. Here, blend it here. You see, it's kind of a blending, but I don't know if you can still see the brush strokes. A little bit of the brush strokes. I'm gonna zoom in to show you. Okay, 1 second. Okay, there. Can you see a little bit? Now, see, this corner is too reddish. I'm gonna add a little bit of green on top. Making this softer. Okay, softer here. I don't know if you can see the colors, a little bit of green here, a little bit of orange. I think I even added a little bit of purple. The highlight on the nose is more yellowish. what? I would love to add some shadow. The light is coming from the left. What about if I add a shadow here? Do you think that helps to add some volume? Maybe you could. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I need to make this eye a little bit more like rounded, circular. Okay, that's better. Now I'm gonna use pure black to paint here the eyelashes. And pure black for the eyelashes here. A little bit. I think those eyelashes are too perfect. The ones that I painted are too, I mean, when some is perfect, I mean like too symmetrical. Kind of just the distance between them is the same. That's not good. Okay. We gotta break up that. This color is getting into the skin. I need to move it there. Just too grayish. I'm basically blending the color that is already here. See if I can fix the color that I see there. What do you think? Close enough? I would love to get the likeness, like a lot of the likeness, but I know that's pretty difficult. But if I just get close enough, I'm pretty happy with that. The thing is that when we stay too much time watching the same image, we cannot just tell ourselves that if we got the likeness or not. Sometimes I think it's okay, and next day I realize that it's not. I used to check out my videos to see my mistakes sometimes, but when I know that something is not okay, I don't check out that video. I don't. I just I don't say it anymore. I know something is off. And that's not a good thing. But yeah, sometimes that happens. It's better to see our mistakes and just to check out and see, take notes, anything to improve for the next painting. Oh, Kundan is asking me what landscape at what time. Oh no, I was speaking about the the paint along lessons that I have on Patreon. Thank you, lots. Thank you, Sylvia. Mark saying, I think the likeness is quite good. Thank you. Exploring history saying, can we use pure color without mixing as you always add some other color? Without mixing, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Like Impressionism, Impressionistic paintings, they just try to capture light by putting down just brush strokes with pure colors and don't mix them that much. Like if Van Gogh's painting, paintings, Monet's paintings. I was just thinking that, if I could try to do that on a painting. Since I mostly paint portraits, adding just pure colors from. I'm thinking what's going to be the best way to control of those colors. Group them by temperature, group them by how light and how dark are some colors. That's kind of pretty tricky. Maybe what you mean is mixing the colors on the palette, but putting down on the canvas without mixing on the canvas. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's what so many painters does that, and we can notice when we see the brush strokes, they just stay there. That's beautiful, yeah. I'll try to get the edge of the face a little bit sharp here. I think that's good. think I need to narrow the neck a little bit. Mervat, hello Mervat. Yeah, we all missed you, Mervat. Mark Air is saying group the pure colors by tone, I think. Yeah. This is the sternocleidomastoid muscle that goes beneath the ear. The problem I have here is this area. There. I added too much of this dark color. Now it's just difficult to paint on top. Yeah. It's just like doesn't matter what color you put on top, it's kind of disappear because I added this portion with a palette knife. The painting is really thick. Oh, that's a mistake that sometimes we do. Remember that when you have too much paint, it's pretty thick, you're not gonna be able to put more paint on top. It's better to start with not too much paint, and as you continue painting, you add more and more paint. See a little bit of kind of bluish light here. More than saying bluish, maybe it's a cool light here. And then this warmer light here. Let's see. Okay, a bit more. Yeah, a bit more. I think I need to paint more, some few details here and there. Need to soften here. Almost done with the portrait. Now remember, keep checking the first steps about the Loomis proportions. Remember that you got the pictures on my Patreon account. You don't need to pay anything. You just join by free. There is an option that says join as a free member. And at the same time, you're gonna get access to 4 free paint-along lessons. The same is on my channel. In my channel, there's an option to join as a member. Okay, one thing. I think the nostril here is too dark. There is always a good idea to soften this, to keep some softness on the face, try to get some transparency. I think I'm gonna put the hair on top of the ear. That way I save a lot of time. Squinting down my eyes. Sometimes we just add more light to some areas when we are trying to get some details. You gotta compare always the light that, for example, is here. It shouldn't be as light as the light here on the cheekbone, and the same this one here, and the same this one with the highlight on the nose. Each light is different. Each light and highlight is different. You could just even add color to make the difference more pronounced or clear. A lot of times what I do is I just pick up green. There's a green that I love a lot, this emerald green, and I mix it with white. This is the green. I mix it with a lot of white, okay, and I use it as a highlight for the nose. I'm gonna zoom in for you all to see it. It's pretty subtle, but I like it because it's enough to make the highlight on the nose glow, just there. Now I could use it here too a little bit. Here is closer to red. It's gonna glow. You could glow even a bit more. If you think that it's not good enough, you can add a touch of yellow, which is gonna just do the same. Just put it in another areas too. A lot of white. Okay. You can mix it with more colors. Just smaller touches. Okay. A little bit of red. Clean the brush. Even I have a little bit of purple here with white. With a lot of white. Let's see. Here. Yeah, you can put it just there or here. Just a touch. It's a lightly brush stroke. That's gonna add more color to the painting. Doing the same, you can just knock down the painting too, adding more grayish colors. You're gonna find yourself in the middle, like thinking, I should knocking down the painting more, or I should keep it just like brighter, I should add more color. What should I do? It's up to you. Sometimes we, especially if you paint a la prima, you know what usually happens is we end up with a colorful version of what we see. That's pretty common when somebody paints a la prima, and that's pretty good, you know. That happens the same way we paint landscapes, or landscapes are pretty colorful. That's beautiful. Okay. What else? I think just that. You know, the difficult part is just to stop painting. And since we don't know when to stop, we just gotta stop. Even that when we know that maybe we could do more, yeah, it's okay if we stop. Even when we think that the painting needs more work. Okay, I think that's it. Unless somebody wants to point out something that I'm not seeing, and maybe that's pretty important for the painting. I don't want to leave some thin strokes, one kind of more like a thick brush stroke that represents the movement of the hair. The thing is that it's kind of difficult to capture the color. The hair always have a little bit of green, a little bit of cool color, and warm color. Like for example, this area added a little bit of blue and a lot of soft edges, of course. softening the edges here. Okay. Okay, I hope you like it. I hope you have learned something from this. And keep checking. Now I'm gonna place the photograph here again on the screen. You know that the photographs are on my Patreon. Okay. All started here, and even that I didn't do it, but you gotta just keep checking on this. It's more than drawing the circle, and that the alignment of the eyes, that's and the center line of the face. That's the more important, because common mistakes, for example, are that sometimes we just paint one eye a little bit up, and another one a little bit down, and you know that happens. We just keep checking, seeing a painting for more than 2 hours, mistakes are gonna happen. What advice I could give you? Just take a picture, see it in a picture, use a mirror, okay, and check out these measurements. Use a ruler, just put it like that. It could be the simple thing that you could do. You could just save you time and save you from a mistake that could be like, something like that, like having one eye up and one eye down. Okay. The Loomis method helps to place the eyes, nose, and mouth. Now, from there, obviously, we need more, because it's not just about placing the eyes, nose, and mouth. That's the first step. From there, you're gonna need to check out the size of each feature. For that, you use alignments, okay, and then you use the planes of the face to keep always the value structure. That's gonna give you volume. Okay, see you in the next video, and you know that this is about repetition. You're gonna just listen to me say the same and the same on every live stream, but that's something that is just like that. Repetition and repetition, practice and practice. The more you practice, the better you get. Okay. Okay, take care, everybody. See you all next week. Okay. Oh, thank you, Brad. Brad Harper is a very good likeness. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you all for being here. Yeah. Please press the like button if you like it. Okay, that's it. Bye, everybody. Take care, you all.